Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Monday. So, how was your weekend? Was it too long? Was it too short? Was it too much rain? We're having rain right now, and I think we were having rain last Friday, the last time we were together. But anyway, weekend was good. My weekend was great. We had a wonderful celebration in worship yesterday. I had the privilege of baptizing my granddaughter, and I was happy to do that. And we had a nice service, just very celebratory, and we were able to glorify the Lord, who makes it all possible. Well, right now, let's just get a couple sips of coffee, or at least a sip of coffee in us, so we can start out this Monday, right? That's why we drink the coffee, so we can do the work. And we're going to get to it in just a moment. My name is Wes. This is Coffee with Wes, and it's brought to you about this time every day, Monday through Friday, and we bring it to you without commercial interruption. So there you go. What can be better than that, right? Now, last week when we were together, we were focusing on Rahab, right? And I guess the big point of our study last week was, had to do with fear and how fear paralyzes us. But Rahab, instead of being paralyzed by her fear, she exercised faith in God. So that's the lesson for us from last week. This week, we're going to look at an account in the life of David. And most of us, maybe all of us, I don't know, are familiar with the David and Goliath account in Scripture. And I know a lot of times people use it like this is a David and Goliath moment, not really understanding anything about it. The little guy takes on the big guy and wins. But there's so much more to this account than just that. We're going to see that the actions of David reveal that faith moves with confidence in God. Faith moves with confidence in God. So let's get started. All right. So today's big idea is that faith sees more than the enemy standing in front of us. Faith sees the God who stands with us. So I want you to think about that as we look at our scripture passage for today. We're in 1 Samuel, Old Testament, 1 Samuel 17, and we're going to look at verses 3 and 4 this morning. So the Philistines and the Israelites faced each other on opposite hills. So there's the army of the Philistines, army of the Israelites, and they're staring each other down, with the valley in between them. Then Goliath, a Philistine, a champion from Gath, came out of the Philistine ranks to face the forces of Israel, and he was over 9 feet tall. All right, so a little background here. Israel and the Philistines, they stand on opposing hills. There's a valley between them, and out steps Goliath in the midst of this standoff. Now, the Israelites and the Philistines often fought against it. It's kind of an ongoing Old Testament narrative. Samson was doing battle with the Philistines. So on this one day, one of the Philistines, a man by the name of Goliath, a very tall individual, standing over 9 feet tall, intimidating in his stature and also in his speech, speaks out to the Israelites. And there Israel is, frozen at the sight of Goliath, overwhelmed by his strength. But David looks at him and doesn't see an invincible warrior. He sees an opportunity for God to be glorified. And so there's a little bit more in the background here, and we're not going to go through all that today. As we go along this week, perhaps we will. But David's not part of the fighting force of the Israelites. He's just bringing a couple of hamburgers to his brothers who are fighting on the front lines. And he sees what's going on, and he says, what's the big deal here? However, here's the thing. Faith refuses to be paralyzed by what's in front of us. And so the application for us today is that, our life oftentimes feels like we're standing between two hills, right? We're surrounded by problems, and there's the enemy shouting to us from the valley. And when we focus on the size of the problem, we have some pretty big problems, then fear sets in. But faith shifts our perspective. Faith reminds us that the battle belongs to God, not the giant. The battle belongs to the Lord, not the problem. And think about the giants that you might be facing in your life right now. You know, it might be the giant of fear, you know, some things that you're afraid of that are coming up. Maybe the giant in your life is doubt or finances or conflict or relationships, you know, your schedule, whatever it might be. Instead of focusing on the size of the problem, focus on the presence of God. Trust that God stands between you and the enemy on the hills. Here's today's thought. Here's what we can take with us today as we go through our day. When fear stands in the valley, faith climbs the hill of God's promises. Ooh, that's pretty good, right? When fear stands in the valley, faith climbs the hill of God's promises. Don't look at how big the enemy is. Instead, remember how big your God is. All right, folks, that's it for Monday. Hope you get off to a good start. Kind of a dreary day. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like today or what's supposed to happen. But right now, all I'm seeing is rain. And so anyway, take that into consideration. Get you another cup of the coffee and get out there and get going. See you again soon. Bye for now.